Hey y'all, it's Maddie from the Itty Bitty Homestead Committee. I have something a bit different for you today, and it's kind of a gruesome, gory one, but I think it's super educational and super helpful. So if you aren't one who likes to see any kind of blood, guts, gore, that kind of thing, or if you are squeamish, this is probably not the video for you. So a little background on this video before we hop into it. Yesterday I opened my barn up at 6 a.m. like I always do and let my chickens out, and everything was fine in the barn. And then after I dropped my kids off at school, I went out into the barn again to just check everyone over and feed around 8:30, and I had found that one of my kits had died suddenly. When it comes to raising animals, when you have an animal that dies suddenly, you do what's called a necropsy, which is basically where you cut them open and kind of look at the internal organs to see kind of what killed them. And a lot of necropsies, you would also send off tests and fluids off to a lab. In this case, I actually just sent pictures to my one mentor who has been in the exotic vet field for 25-30 years-ish, and asked a couple of questions because this one was kind of weird for me. So let's hop into those pictures, and again, if you're squeamish, this is where you're going to want to hop off. So before we get started into the necropsy, I just wanted to show you which rabbit this was. It is the large blue rabbit on the right. It was my 7-week-old kit, and it was kind of upsetting from a standpoint of this was the kit I was going to keep out of this mini Rex litter, and it was doing the best out of the litter from a standpoint of it was gaining the most weight. It was doing the best out of all the babies. So when I had found it passed away, it really was a shock, and especially if you're looking at this picture and you're comparing it to one of its other litter mates who is much smaller. So the first thing we did was we looked at the outside of the rabbit, looked for any wounds or any problems. We also checked the eyes and the eyelids for any kind of jaundice or clouding or anything like that. And then we checked the gums for anemia and once again jaundice. I also looked in the mouth for any kind of hay choke or any problems there, and it wasn't obvious, so we decided that we needed to open this rabbit up. So the first thing I noticed when we opened up this rabbit is that we had rabbit droppings going all the way through the intestines, and nothing in the GI tract was inflamed or bloated. So this wasn't GI stasis, this wasn't bloat, because everything seems to be working properly on that end. And the stomach, again, was about a normal size, and it had things in it. So we were digesting properly, and that wasn't a problem, which is something we commonly see. Now, what isn't normal is this right here. This is the liver, and it's very spotty. And it's not the normal kind of spotty like coccidiosis, because that's what this looks like right here. So as soon as I saw what that liver looked like, I immediately sent a picture over to my exotic vet mentor who has been working in this field for a very long time, and started asking questions about what is this liver? What is going on with it? What is this mottling color? I have never seen it before. She said that it was congested liver and that I needed to take a bunch more pictures to send her of the other organs to figure out if that was the main cause of death or if it was something else, because in theory, congested liver is normally caused by anorexia in rabbits, and obviously this rabbit wasn't anorexic. It was eating and there was no signs of GI stasis or other problems. So I did as she asked and I started sending other pictures. But what really caught my mentor's attention was this picture right here of the heart and lungs, and that is because the lungs have blood in them. Now, I had initially thought it was because I had accidentally punctured the lung when opening up the chest cavity, but she explained to me that if the rabbit had been dead when I was doing the necropsy, which it was, it wouldn't be able to aspirate on that blood because it would need to pull that blood into the lungs, meaning that this would have happened when it was alive. Now, normally when we're looking at lungs in a necropsy, we want them to be a bright bubblegum pink color. But in this case, you can see they are not that color, they are a completely different color. But another problem she was worried about is the fact that in these lungs there were little white pustules. and she was afraid that that would be Pasteurella, also known as sniffles in rabbits. Pasteurella, when it comes to rabbits, all rabbits are either exposed to it or are carriers sometime in their lifetime. With that being said, that doesn't mean that they are all symptomatic. The problem is once you get one rabbit that does have Pasteurella and is symptomatic, it can spread through your barn and cause havoc and death in a lot of your rabbits. So, because of what happened with this little rabbit who died of pneumonia and seeing those tiny pustules, we went into Pasteurella protocol yesterday, meaning that we scrubbed down the entire barn and did a health check on every single rabbit in the barn. And it was not a fun day, but other than this little rabbit having issues, all of the other rabbits had clear lung sounds, no one's losing weight, and there are no other symptoms going on in the barn, but that's why we call it a precaution. Yeah, yesterday wasn't a fun day. We were cleaning the barn till 11 p.m. last night, and we had started at like 9 a.m., so it was a very long day, but I figured this was a very interesting video for y'all and somebody could learn something off of that. With that being said, I do have a video coming up on our Pasteurella protocol and what we do in order to mitigate the chances of us ever getting it. With that being said, even though all rabbits are carriers of Pasteurella, also known as sniffles, we have never actually had an outbreak of it in our barn, and I would like to keep it that way. So in order to keep your rabbits healthy and safe, ensure that you are keeping an eye on any kind of discharge from the nose and eyes, and that if you do have any rabbits that are coming in from another barn, that you do quarantine them for 30 days to ensure they are not bringing ick into it. So anyways, that's all I have for y'all today, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.